Greetings from Cybertron. This is SoundJack here with another episode of SoundJack's Rambles. And today I am here with Alyssa.
Hello once again.
And we are here for a double feature picture show. In the back row, RKO. We are talking, of course, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. That
Yay!
cult classic spooky film featuring the likes of Tim Curry as Dr. Frankenfurter, the scientist that is a sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania, Susan Sarandon as Jeanette Weiss as you know what, I'm just going to stop this because I was going to reference things from the Shadowcast, and I realized that's not based on my own rules. I can't say those words on.
Yes, this is an R-rated movie, Michael.
Yeah. Oh, it's actually R-rated?
Yeah, it's rated R.
Yeah, I did not know that.
There's boobies in it.
Okay, but like,
if there are boobies, you see some boobs. Therefore, R.
Fair.
I'm pretty sure once boobs are in the picture, it's an R rating.
That's fair. It's fair. I just never thought of it. I was like PG-13, okay. But
nope.
You are right. There are
talking about a hard R rating, baby.
Yeah.
I mean, there actually aren't any. I don't think there are any real curses in the movie. It's really just the sexual content.
Yeah.
So that should be probably the first thing we mention is, hey, if you're under 17. Maybe peace out for this episode.
Yeah. Or stay and be a Rocky Horror virgin and
yes,
experience the creature feature with us.
Yes. All right. So just are we still rolling or?
Yeah, we're rolling.
What's going on?
We're rolling.
Oh crap! All right, cool. Hello, Blooper Reel. How are you?
We've been talking this entire time.
We have been. I just wasn't. No. Okay. Look. Even if you're rolling, like, are we? I didn't know if we were like on yet. You know.
Oh yeah, we're rolling. This is on. None of this is getting cut.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Unless,
okay.
well, I mean, you're the one in charge, so I guess you can cut it.
That's fair. That's also fair.
But I did not intend for it to get cut. This is stuff that was going to stay in. But anywho, back to talking to the audience.
Yes.
So I guess the first thing we should discuss is how we got to know of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Alyssa, why don't you start us off?
So I have been aware of Rocky Horror Picture Show for a while. My dad likes the movie, and he actually owns it on DVD. But I had to rent it from the library because the DVD is like not accessible to me at the moment. So. Yeah, he actually used to go to some of the Shadowcasts, I think, and he's always thought it was a fun campy time.
Yeah.
But I, of course, had never seen it until we were in college, and Michael had a not science fiction double feature, but a double feature.
Yes, I did.
Featuring a movie that will be talked about soon.
Yes.
Hint, hint.
Yes. But the plan for the double feature was spoiled then, and it's spoiled again this time.
I know. The double feature just never works out. It's a sad time.
Yes, it's a sad time. But yeah, I guess I should go into talking about the double feature incident, since that was my actual first time watching the Rocky Horror Picture Show, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that was my first time too. I had not. Yeah. I heard of it and I knew about it, but I had never seen it in person until then.
Same. So what was going on was this was the end of our freshman year of college. Puts that around 2014.
Yes.
Yes, puts that so April, May 2014. I was like, hey, I want to hang out with people, and I got a couple of movies that I want to watch with people. Were the Blues Brothers and the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I was like, okay, there's a chill day. Let's just do it. Let's just have fun. I was like, okay, people, would people want to do this? Can we just have a party? And people were like, yeah, that's fun. I'm like, okay, I'm also going to order pizza for this thing. What do you guys want? And then people told me what they wanted for their pizza. So day comes. I have the movies ready to watch. I got the pizza. I got 3 boxes of pizza for people. And it was me, my roommate, Alyssa, who at the time was dating my roommate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a thing.
And yes, we shall not speak of it further. And then for a bit, our one mutual friend Jess was there, and that was it. That was it. She didn't even have any pizza. She just saw. I think was she only there for some of Rocky Horror, because she wasn't there from the get-go.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, all I remember is we first watched the Blues Brothers, and then we watched the Rocky Horror, and it made my roommate uncomfortable.
Oh my God! Yes, it did.
Yeah.
I remember after we finished watching the movie, he just told me, he was like, it was interesting, and I was like, I see you didn't like it.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say about him, just for context, is this man was a bit more on the conservative side of things.
Yeah.
So it wasn't one of his, it's not something that would appeal to his sensibilities.
Yes.
Put it that way.
Yes. Yes.
So.
But in an instance that did work, I was actually in a shadowcast of Rocky Horror Picture Show in college. And if you don't know, if you're not that familiar with Rocky Horror Picture Show, a shadowcast is a performance where the film is playing out in the background and a group of actors reenacts it in the foreground of the film playing, just miming along, to an extent. Yeah. Or sometimes they'll speak along with the film. But
yeah.
The big appeal is that there is audience participation with audience dialogue involved during the film, and a substantial amount of props. Some of them clever for regarding scene. Example being that you're encouraged to bring rice to throw during the wedding scene when everyone is throwing rice. Others are severely dumb, as in when Frankenfurter says a toast and literally everyone just throws a piece of toast to the stage.
Yep.
It's a good time for all.
It is a good time. Although yes. I would say, if you've never seen this movie, I would highly recommend watching the movie on your own first before going to a shadowcast, because let me tell you, it'll be super distracting and confusing if you are watching it with the shadowcast as your first time ever watching Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yes.
So. Yes.
Also in that production, I was the criminologist. Mm-hmm. But there was another year that was supposed to happen that just utterly fell through, and I was supposed to be Riff Raff.
Oh, that would have been fun.
That would have been great.
Yeah, I totally would have been excited to see that.
Yeah, I would have loved it. So good. But anyway, you think that's enough of the background. So let's hop into this thing.
Do we want to go for a plot summary or not?
You want to do a plot summary? Because I don't know how quickly I can summarize this film.
Sure. So basically all you need to know is after the story is about a engaged couple, Brad and Janet, who are, I forget exactly where they're going. I think they're going, I just saw the movie and I don't remember. I think they're just going to go see Dr. Scott or somebody, but they make a wrong, they get a flat tire and they're like, oh well, let's go to this creepy castle and like ask them if they have a phone. And turns out they go to this castle in the middle of a Transylvania convention, and in which they meet Dr. Frankenfurter, a sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania, and he is unveiling his master creation in the grand tradition of all Frankensteins. And his grand creation is Rocky, basically a buff macho man that will satisfy Dr. Frankenfurter's desires, I guess is how I'll put it.
Oh my.
And then basically it's Brad and Janet have a bunch of hijinks ensue, and Brad and Janet try to escape. And there's also a subplot about Eddie, aka Meatloaf, and Dr. Scott, who is Meatloaf's nephew. I know his name's Eddie, but yes, I mean it's Meatloaf.
You mean Meatloaf is Dr. Scott's nephew?
Plot. Huh?
You mean Meatloaf is Dr. Scott's nephew?
Yes. No. Yes. I misspoke.
Yes.
That's the basic plot. It's a real mess.
Yes.
But
boy, does it have a good soundtrack.
Oh yeah, it really does. I feel like the soundtrack is really what gives this movie the mileage it does.
Yes.
But yeah, because it is a musical. I don't think we mentioned that.
No. No, I didn't. But
it is.
Yes.
It is indeed. And I even think it was originally musical. Like I think the movie is an adaptation of a musical.
Yes. It's a 1975 musical science fiction horror comedy film.
Wait, 1995?
75.
Oh, okay. I was like...
Based off the 1973 stage production.
Yes. Okay. So where do you want to take it first? Michael.
Let's take it to the start.
Okay.
And let's talk about the Brad and Janet.
Sure.
Who we start off. Well, first off, the criminologist talks about the events in a sense.
I mean, not really. It first starts out with the church scene.
Oh, it does. Right, then the criminologist comes in afterwards.
Criminologist comes in afterwards.
Yes.
It's all good.
Yes. So we do start with the wedding. Brad and Janet are at a friend's wedding, and then Brad proposes to Janet after the bride and groom leave.
Yep.
So,
classy.
Yep.
I mean, that's a good idea. You don't want to rain on their parade.
Yeah. Just wait till after the wedding.
Yeah.
And then they head off.
Mm-hmm.
To I forget where they're going, but they end up with a flat tire, and at some point,
I just watched it. I want to say they were going to see Dr. Scott or something, but they took a wrong turn.
Like they were specifically going somewhere, but where we do not know. But at some point, we do get introduced to the criminologist who relates the tale. Looking at the events that transpired on this evening.
I gotta say, the criminologist is actually a really good addition to this movie.
Yes.
I think he helps keep it grounded. I feel like if you were to remove the criminologist, you'd be so confused.
Yes.
He kind of adds what's great about him is that he's not even totally serious either.
Yes.
Because he pulls down. Like, my favorite part of the time warp sequence is just when he pulls down the
diagram,
the instructions. Like, that was a great moment.
It's just a jump to the left.
And it's just like, oh, I guess he's doing this now.
Yep. And a step to the right.
Yeah, so that's basically his role. So I have a question for you, though, Michael.
Yes.
Which character do you like most, Brad or Janet, if you had to choose?
Janet.
Same.
Yes.
Oh my god, same.
She deserves better.
I gotta say, Brad is just kind of Like, he doesn't even, like, even though he doesn't really even have much of a character arc, he just kind of, I mean, I guess the biggest character arc he has is, man, when you first go to I love how when they first go to the mansion, he's just like, let's stay. And even when they have their clothes taken off, he's like, oh no, it's fine. It's just like, Brad, clearly something is off if they're taking off your clothes without asking your permission first. Like, come on.
Yeah.
So he's kind of a weak sauce guy.
Yeah.
And I mean, even though the idea is that, you know, like, Janet clearly undergoes a sort of character change.
Yeah.
In that she, so she goes on a character change, whereas Brad kind of stays the same from beginning to end, more or less. He's a wimp at the beginning and he's a wimp at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, when at the end sequence, when he's doing his bit in the finale, he talks about how he's like really scared and wants to call it quits.
Yeah.
He can't. So it's just like, I guess that's just his character. Okay.
Yep.
So there's that. So yeah, I think Janet's a lot more interesting as a character. I think her we get, like, there's a little bit more dynamic oh my god, what's the word? Like, a lot more dynamics with how she's, like, even though she is like, she's a lot more, you can tell that sort of, like, her desire to, like, you know, do all the dirty stuff is more, it's more like, it's definitely more of a repressed thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, she clearly goes from, like, resistant to just being like, nah, what the hell, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I think that's kind of an interesting aspect to her character.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm like trying. Okay, I'm trying so hard to just talk about this without, like, saying something that I'll have to edit out. So
yeah,
it's a challenge. It's a challenge.
Yes. Because a lot of stuff happens, especially stuff that is not PG rated.
Oh no, we're in R-rated territory, brother.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm just clarifying for the audience.
No, I know.
Yeah, but yeah. Then we have the entering to the house, the introduction of Riff Raff and Columbia.
Yes. Also, fun fact, I think Riff Raff, the guy who plays Riff Raff, Joe O'Brien, was the person who wrote the original screenplay.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he wrote the screenplay.
Yeah. Sharman and Richard O'Brien. Ooh. Yep. Yeah. Very nice.
So he gets to play Riff Raff. I think Riff Raff's really fun. Not only is his name funny.
Yes.
But he also is just kind of definitely supposed to be like the Igor parody.
Yeah.
He has the hump and everything.
Yep.
I also think that, like, just Richard O'Brien just looks the part too.
Yeah.
Like, he looks kind of like scummy or like creepy in like that kind of gothy way. Yeah. You know, it's just great. I love it.
Yeah. Also, I was wrong before. It wasn't Columbia. It was Magenta that we get introduced to. Right?
Magenta.
Columbia's just a groupie.
Columbia comes in during the time warp sequence.
Yeah. Let's do the time warp again. Before we move on to the sweet transvestite song when we get introduced to Dr. Frankenfurter.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Dr. Frankenfurter is, like, what can you say about him that hasn't already been said? He's just a riot.
Yes.
Like, Tim Curry.
Nailed
what a performance. like, holy crap. He just sells it 100%.
Yes.
And it's just great. Like, he's definitely the epitome of bad guy you love to hate, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he's just, he does some really messed up stuff in this movie, but man, it's hard to, like, outright hate him. Because
Yep.
he just has so much charisma. It's just so great. And that's every time there's a villain with Tim Curry, I'm always just like, how can I hate him? It's Tim Curry.
Right?
It's so hard. He's just such a fun time. So, yeah, Frankenfurter is definitely one of my other favorite characters. Just because he is this whole movie. It's incredible.
I see you shivering with Antissa. Patient.
Dang. I was like, I wonder how long you're going to break it out. Yeah, but Tim, I love Frankenfurter. He does a good.
Yes. Yes, he does.
What other characters do we want to talk about?
We gotta talk about Rocky.
Oh yeah, of course, Rocky the Creation.
Yes.
I gotta say, as far as it goes with like, when it comes to just creating essentially a parody of Frankenstein, having Frankenstein's monster be a muscly Adonis is a great subversion of the traditional like monster tropes.
Yes.
You know, like instead of it being like, oh god, what the horror, you gotta go, oh man, what a hunk.
Yeah, because he's gorgeous and well endowed.
Yes.
From our understanding.
Of course he's well endowed. I mean, Frankenfurter made him. So.
Yeah. Can I just mention how weird that is?
What do you mean?
Because technically Frankenfurter would be his father.
Yeah. Yes. There are some weird things about that. This is why I try not to think too much about this movie too, because then you kind of go like, geez, there's some really screwed up stuff that happens in this movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, Meatloaf's brain is used for Rocky.
Oh yes.
And there's an entire scene where he drives around the lab on his motorcycle, having broken out of the freezer.
Yep. Eddie is like a minor character. He's also implied to be one of Frankenfurter's previous lovers too.
Yes. Yes. Especially also strong romantic connections with Colombia, which is probably why.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that has ended.
Oh well. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a fun scene.
In Colombia, I gotta say, I think amongst the main cast, she's probably the one I like the least.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't have anything wrong with her. I don't know.
She's kind of there.
She just kind of seems like she's just kind of there.
Yeah.
I know she's like the groupie, but I'm just kind of like, I feel like in some ways I kind of almost assume that like a lot of the people that Frankenfurter interacts with is in, a sexual manner. So it's kind of like, okay, guess she's just there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you feel? How do you feel about Columbia?
She's fine. I mean, she's a different perspective on the whole thing, as she is a normal person that gets involved with this group of people. Which, I mean, we're talking spoilers anyway, so might as well just spoil it right now. They're aliens. Frankenfurter.
Yes.
Frankenfurter. Magenta and Riffraff, they're all aliens from the planet transsexual in the galaxy Transylvania.
Which I gotta say, in the grand tradition of sci-fi names, probably the dumbest names for a planet, and like you just gotta think, who the hell made up those names? Like, we're just gonna call our whole planet transsexual. That's gonna be the name for it. Beautiful.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's you don't take it seriously, so it's fine. Yeah, they're all aliens, and yeah, I guess Columbia is the only like normal person, at least amongst Frankenfurter's posse, that isn't an alien.
Yes.
So you are right in that regard.
Yeah. Well, Rocky isn't either, but he's the Frankenstein monster.
Yeah, so he doesn't really count ish.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then I'm trying to think of other characters. I mean, there's Dr. Scott. He's more minor. He's kind of an exposition guy more so than anything else.
Yeah.
He also gives a lot of the science gobbledygook too. Talks about like also he just happens to be like studying UFOs.
Yeah.
Also, I think he's implied to have been German. I don't know if he was like working for the Nazis or not, but
yeah, there's some
there's some World War II maybe history going on with Dr. Scott.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I hope it's not Nazis, but it might be Nazis.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Do you know if he like was working for the Nazis or if he was like forced to work with them?
Who knows, really?
Okay. Because, like, I couldn't get a good read on that, but considering how old he is and the time it took place and the fact that he's a German scientist, yeah, Nazis are probably involved in some regard.
All I know is that Frankenfurter has a great line when he said, when he mentions what food they're having for dinner when Dr. Scott comes in and he says meatloaf. And then
oh my God,
Columbia cries and runs away because they're actually eating Eddie.
Yeah, that was the best line. Like, okay, when we talk about the grand tradition of like fourth wall jokes, that's probably one of the best fourth wall jokes of all time.
Yes.
Let's just be real.
Yes.
Like, it's so great. Like, it's so subtle, you know, like it's not in your face.
Yeah.
It's not like an in your face fourth wall break. It's just kind of a clever joke.
Yeah.
And like, if you don't know it's Meatloaf that they're talking about, like if you don't know that it's Meatloaf who's the guy, I mean to be fair, most of the people who'd be watching this would have known that it was Meatloaf because Meatloaf was, I mean, in the 70s he was a big deal.
Yes.
So anyone who'd be watching this movie would recognize that it's Meatloaf. But even if you didn't, it's still a funny line. So
yes,
I don't know. It's a great fourth wall joke.
Yes, it is. Absolutely phenomenal of a fourth wall joke.
Yeah. That dinner scene though, that's a pretty funny scene. A lot of it's really quiet too. Like they're all just kind of awkwardly eating.
Yeah. And then there's the happy birthday.
Oh yeah. To Rocky.
Yeah. Because he's alive for one day.
Yep. I think that's most of the characters that at least have names.
Yeah. We actually
okay.
That we actually care about.
Yes. I guess. Oh wait, we didn't really talk about Magenta.
Oh yeah, we haven't.
But I mean, she's also just kind of there. She's Riff Raff's brother. Although
Riff Raff's brother.
Oh, I mean Riff Raff's sister. Gosh. But
I made the same mistake in the last podcast, but the other way around.
Yeah, that's happened.
Yep. Anyway.
They're like, I don't know about you, but I kind of got some like weird like incest vibes.
I mean,
when I was watching it this time, I was like, are they? So seems like they're kind of close.
Yeah, I mean, I was reading up on the wiki that they were siblings, and I'm like, oh wait, weren't they kind of, you know, wink wink nudge nudge.
I don't know if they were explicitly but like they definitely were like getting a little touchy feely for siblings.
Yes.
So.
Well, I mean, you know, maybe that's just a cultural custom in transsexual Transylvania.
I guess so. Yeah. I think so. Yeah, I think those are all the characters. Why don't we talk about songs next?
Let's do the time warp again.
Are you just gonna start singing it every time we bring up songs?
Maybe not. I don't know.
Oh my goodness. So Michael, what is your favorite song from this musical?
It definitely. You know, I gotta think. It's definitely. No. I wonder. Let me think. You go ahead and answer. No, it's the time warp. It's the time warp, of course.
Time Warp is a fun song.
Yeah. Though also, Sweet Transvestite. That is kicking.
Oh yeah, that song's definitely a fun rock tune.
Yep. What would you say is your all favorite song?
I really like Sweet Transvestite. I also like the Time Warp.
Yeah.
I mean, the Time Warp's just a fun time.
Yeah.
Warp.
Waka waka.
Oh yeah. But I also got to give a shout out to Touch Me
Yes.
too. That one's also fun.
Touch me.
It's just a lot of it's just a great little tune.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also that. Trying to, yeah. I mean, most of the songs in this movie are good.
Yes.
I don't think there were too many duds.
Nah.
Or songs that I was like, maybe not.
Yeah.
I guess maybe the only song that I really wasn't feeling was Rocky's song when he starts singing as soon as he comes out.
The Sword of Damocles?
Yeah, like I guess it's maybe because Rocky is just not the best singer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not bad. He's just clearly not, like,
great.
A great singer.
Yeah.
So it kind of ruins things a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since he's, like, the only person singing. But, I mean, the song's actually is fine on its own, so I don't have any, like, big issues with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. I can make you a man.
Oh, yeah, that's also a fun tune. I love how Frankenfurter gifts Rocky with just a bunch of, like, buff equipment.
Yes.
Nice.
And in 7 days. And in 6... And... What was it? And six short nights or 6 long nights?
I forget. I just saw this movie, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that one's fun, too. I don't know. Like I said, a lot of the songs are really good.
Yep.
Most of them are pretty kicking. And it's very clear to me that this movie definitely has, like, a glam rock aesthetic, too.
Mm-hmm.
And I like myself, my 70s, 80s glam rock, so I'm in.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Do you want to say anything more about music?
There's a light over at the Epcot Center.
Oh, yeah. I was trying to remember what the call for the Shadowcast was when I was watching that part, because I was like, I know it wasn't whatever the lyrics are here.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize it was the Epcot Center.
I think that was actually a thing for our edition. I don't think that's the standard call for that. Okay. But I love that so much.
I mean, Epcot Center is very well lit, so it makes sense.
Yep. And very much looks like that dome. I just want to try to... Honestly, I wouldn't be mad if we spent the rest of the podcast just trying to remember calls.
I think my favorite one, and this is not necessarily from, like... Oh, my favorite one, though, is, like, why is there a billboard in the graveyard? It was a grave mistake. Yeah. I love it, because I love puns, and it's the best pun in the whole thing. Yep. It also kind of calls out, like, why is there a billboard in the graveyard? Yep. Like, there's no road nearby. Nope. Like, why is it here? Yep. I just love that. That to me is, like, just a great one. Yeah. I'm also kind of into. There's also the one. I think there was one that my dad was talking about, because he's seen some of the Shadowcast, and there was a call out people would do that was like, what was it? It was like, you forgot to turn the globe off when the criminologist leaves. Yeah. At the end of it, like, turn the globe off or something. Yeah. Yeah. So those are the ones that I remember off the top of my head. But I've only been to one Shadowcast, so I don't know a lot of them. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the one at the very beginning is, pretty much, where it's like, where the back row, in the back row. Okay, I remember now, because, like, the lips say something about in the back row, and the front row is like, F the back row. The back row's like, F the front row, and then someone else is like, shut the F up, the movie's about to start. Gotcha. As you can tell, there's a lot of swearing involved in the Shadowcast.
Yes. I also like the windshield wipers one.
Oh yeah, that one's pretty funny too.
Yeah. And I cannot not. It would be impossible of me to try to say the one when they ring the doorbell.
Which one was that again? Or can you not to say because
I
language?
cannot. I cannot. I can't. I'm just gonna text it to you right now.
Okay. Because I don't remember it. Like I said, I wasn't involved in the Shadowcast. I just went to see the screening, and so I don't really remember.
My phone is trying to censor me. There you go.
Okay, 1 second. I haven't. Oh, that's a good one. That's a pretty good one. Yeah, definitely don't say that on the podcast.
No. If you are familiar with it, it's the one that starts with ding dong.
Yeah, and then
you should figure it out from there. When they're coming in from the rain.
Yes. Oh goodness.
I just love this.
Yeah, so
I don't want to be in another Shadowcast someday.
Yeah, it seems like it's a lot of fun. What's great about it is like you don't even need to be like that good of an actor.
Yeah. Hey now.
I mean, like I'm not trying to like bring any shade on you, Michael. My point is just that like, I mean, it's just like it's not like it's a theater thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is, but it's not like, you know, rehearsed lines. There's not a it's not a high stakes production.
Yeah.
You know, so it's okay if the. So what I mean by that is like anyone can get involved in the Shadowcast.
Yes.
You don't need to feel like you have to have a good command of theater in order to do well.
Yeah.
Because it's silly.
Yep.
And that's the best part.
Yes.
I'm trying to think what else. Oh, we should talk about any background stuff like sets, costumes, lighting.
The first thing that came to mind when you mentioned sets is 3 more triangles.
Yeah. Oh my god.
But I will say very, very good setup with the 2 different scenes with Frankenfurter coming in to both Janet and Brad's separate rooms.
Oh yeah, yes. I think that was a very well staged.
Yep.
Yeah, those are definitely very well staged scenes.
Yes. Also, just the introduction of Frankenfurter with that elevator.
Oh yeah, I mean that whole sweet transvestite scene is just gold. Let me see. You know what's funny? I did some research before this podcast because I was curious, and apparently the play itself, the story is supposed to be set in Texas.
Okay.
When you think of this movie, do you think of Texas?
I mean,
like, do you think it looks like it's in Texas?
I mean, we don't see a whole lot of it.
That's fair. Most of it is in
the castle.
In the castle.
Like, I don't know how well wooded Texas is. That's the only thing that could throw me off.
Yeah. Well, fun fact, this movie was actually shot on location in England.
Okay.
Which is about as far away from Texas as you could imagine.
Yeah.
I just find that funny. And it kind of made sense to me. I was like, no wonder I wasn't getting any Texas vibes from here. It isn't in Texas.
Well, I mean, the church I could see.
Oh, yeah, that church makes sense.
The church makes sense.
The castle is kind of like, are we sure a castle like this is in Texas?
Fair.
Like, I guess that's kind of the point, right? Like, it's an alien spaceship, actually. So,
yes, so.
You know, the fact that it's in Texas kind of makes it even more unusual.
Yes.
But.
Yes.
Anyway. Apparently the castle is actually in England
Okay.
or something, and they had to like renovate it or whatever for the movie or something like that.
They probably hold tours now.
Probably, yeah. Watch where.
I will go to England just to see the castle this film was shot at.
Of course. I mean, what else is there to see in England? Am I right?
There's not certainly anything interesting in London or the Cliffs of Dover in England, or is that one of the other part of the UK?
Cliffs of Moher is in Ireland.
Okay. The White Cliffs of Dover. Yeah.
Oh, White Cliffs of Dover. No, that's in England.
Okay.
Or it could be in Scotland. It is in the United Kingdom. Yeah. Don't know where though.
Yeah. Yeah. The UK has interesting things going on with its stuff right now, but that is political.
Yes. Anyway. So I guess that's it for background stuff. Is there anything else background related?
Nothing for me.
Okay. And then I guess just any other favorite stuff you wanted to point out that we hadn't talked about yet.
A lot of it is really good and really fun.
Okay.
Nothing wait. Specific? You know what I just remembered?
What? What did you just remember?
About Dr. Scott. There's definitely a moment in the film where he's giving a long and impassioned speech and his hand is raising at a very specific angle.
Oh no!
Yes.
So he is a Nazi.
Yes.
Dang it.
For a substantial period of time it remains in a certain position.
Oh my god.
Well, it doesn't remain, but like it raises, it's in a close enough angle for it long enough.
That's why he kept talking about moral degeneracy. It all makes sense now.
Yep.
He's a Nazi. Okay.
So everyone.
I had a suspicion he was, but I guess I just wasn't like, it just wasn't clicking for me. But now that makes sense.
So we just confirmed that literally every person in this film is terrible and should not be enjoyed. Except maybe Janet.
And Rocky.
Yeah, and Rocky.
Rocky, I feel sorry for Rocky.
Yeah.
He was created pretty much just to be a pleasure factory, I guess I'll call him, for Frankenfurter. I mean, how else am I supposed to say it?
I don't think I can say it in any nicer way, without using terms that I cannot say.
Yeah, but so basically he's that, and like he gets tormented by riffraff. Brad doesn't seem to like. Pretty much the only character in the entire movie that actually cares about Rocky as a human being instead of just either an object or a monster is Janet. And I mean, even though Frankenfurter like made him, he clearly doesn't like care about him.
Yeah.
Any more than he does like, and so if he doesn't care about him any further than him as his created function.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
His in Frankenfurter's mind, at least as far as I could tell, his value begins and ends with hot body.
Yeah.
And Janet, even though Janet, sleeps with him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
She what?
No, I was waiting for a gap in the thing, and then I was going to say, even though she cares about him, she also does get use of his pleasure, gets to enjoy his pleasure factory, as you phrased it.
Now I regret using that phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like they do, but at the same time, it's not the same kind of situation. Yeah. Like. Because it seems to be more of a mutual experience.
Yeah, because Rocky now understands what that is.
Say that again.
Because Rocky now knows what that is, and has the choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Yeah, man, Frankenfurter's a really bad person. I don't know if we've made that clear enough. He is actually quite horrible.
Yes.
Like it's kind of shocking. Like this is how good Tim Curry's performance is, though.
Yeah,
like
that
he's so charismatic that you're like, wait a second, and then you actually run through what Frankenfurter has done in this movie. You're just kind of like, damn. Like,
oh.
Yeah, it's an oh moment, and you're like, well.
Yeah, the Shadowcast is still fun.
Oh yeah. So, is that it for background? Is that it for everything else? I'm trying to think if there's any other things that I liked that I wanted to put in here. I don't really.
I just love how in your first watching of it, if you've never seen it before, you think these are all like pseudo monster people, and then you're like, nope, they're actually aliens.
I know, right? It's like a total like.
It's like what?
Although to be fair, there are quite a few monster movies that involve aliens, like the Metalunum. What is it? The something. There's a Universal monster movie in which the monster in question is an alien. So
yeah, but like the monsters that this movie is comparing, has comparisons towards, are traditional Earth monsters, like from Earth. With Frankenfurter being Frankenstein, Rocky being the monster, Riff Raff being Igor, and I don't even know what the magenta is supposed to be.
I thought Bride of Frankenstein, if only because of how she looks in the end, but it's not a clear comparison. I don't think she has like a clear a clear what am I thinking of? Yeah,
and also a little
clear
bit
parallel. Yeah, clear parallel.
Yeah, though also a little bit of Dracula for Frankenfurter for when he's introduced.
Oh yeah, this is definitely borrowing from a lot of classic horror movies.
But like again, all of them were more traditional Earth monsters, and then it's like surprise, we're from space.
In that accent too.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think we really ever touched on the finale. What did you think of the finale with them dancing on stage?
Rose, 10 Small World, and All My Troubles Will Fade Away, or something.
Yes, yeah, those are the
that
songs.
Is wild.
That is a wild finale. And then there's the pool scene, which is probably the wildest scene.
Yep, and they all just start losing articles of clothing.
Yep.
And it gets very close to a giant pleasure factory pile.
Giant factory pile.
In the middle of a pool. Wow.
Yep. Yes. Man,
I should stop using
this movie without like having to like outright say what's going on is a challenge. Like goodness.
And then the aliens come in and zap Frankenfurter to death with a space laser pitchfork.
Oh yeah, because they were
the painting in the
callback. Yeah, they're supposed to be callback to that painting. I forget what it's called. The one with the man and the woman and a pitchfork.
Yeah, but they are actually presented in that picture earlier in the.
Oh yeah, it's there in the background during the wedding scene.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. But yeah.
Okay, so now onions or negative stuff. Any criticisms we have?
The strongest criticism I have is when you stop to think about it, holy crap, everyone is terrible.
Yeah.
How bad some of this stuff would be viewed if it wasn't in this specific film that is such a beloved cult classic.
Yeah, there, especially when you're thinking about like LGBTQ representation.
Yeah.
Yikes.
No. Yeah. Terrible.
Obviously. Like for context too. The Shadowcast that we saw was actually presented by our college's GSA.
Yes.
So I do think that in the queer community, this movie is, well beloved. But
yeah. But but once you start to think, Like, it's completely fine until you start to think of the relationship between Rocky and Frankenfurter. When you do that, then everything goes downhill.
There's that, and also there. I mean, just there's like, because in some ways the way that the movie frames like sexuality in some ways too can be kind of if only because like, I mean, because in some ways sort of the joke of the whole movie is that instead of the great horror being like a monster in Frankenstein, it's, you know, sexual deviancy, I guess, is the scary thing.
Yes.
So there's also that implication.
Yep.
And that's probably just, so it's kind of a framing issue. And I guess if I can totally understand if someone can't unsee those kinds of things, you know.
Yeah.
So if that kind of turns you off, I totally get it. It's kind of an unfortunate aspect of it, but yeah, but I guess that'd probably be the only thing that I would say is like the hugest problem. Also, I'd also say that there are some like times where things are kind of gratuitous or some things don't make sense. Like sometimes the plot kind of is like, what? Like, I don't think it's ever really clear exactly what like the aliens are doing here or why they're on Earth.
Yep.
They're just kind of there doing something.
I think Frankenfurter is technically a fugitive, and I think they're there to arrest him, but they needed to have evidence to convict him.
Yes.
Or something.
Not only is Frankenfurter not only does he have all the really bad things he's done, like in the actual movie, but apparently he was already a criminal when he was before he got onto Earth. So
yep.
That's great.
Yep. Yes.
So that's like, so yeah, there's just some things. I mean, like, obviously the plot doesn't really need to be the strongest, but you know, I don't know. There were some moments that kind of felt like it was dragging. Like, I never really cared much for Dr. Scott, so every time he was on screen, I was just kind of like, I guess this is happening.
I mean, what's I think every time Dr. Scott's name is said, it's just boo Dr. Scott from the audience.
Oh, well, I mean, he's a Nazi, so obviously.
Yeah. Absolutely justified that.
But at the same time, I don't know. Like, he just doesn't have much presence, and he's kind of as a character, so.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, now I just realized something. The
whole
Nazi thing. There's been conspiracy theories about Nazis and UFOs, so maybe that's why he's been studying UFOs.
You're right.
Oh my god. Sometimes you think this movie's really stupid, but then there's some cleverness like that, and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
This movie has some inner truth bombs to it.
Yes.
Or have some really funny, like not inside jokes, but like funny references.
Yep. Excuse you.
Oh my goodness, excuse me.
I think I need to pep you up.
Negatives, I think.
I need to pep you up a little bit if you're getting so tired. So let's do the time warp again.
It's just a step to the left. Just step to the right. Left. I forget.
It's just a jump to the left.
Left.
And then a step to the right. Put your hands on your hips. And you bring your knees in tight.
So, okay. And then, one thing I wanted to bring up, the last thing I wanted to bring up definitely, before we wrap up or before we change subject, is, I don't know if you're aware of this, but apparently there's supposed to be a remake in the works for Rocky Horror Picture Show.
That happened.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Let's Do the Time Warp Again, came out in 2016.
Oh, I did not. Okay.
Honestly, I forgot this was a thing until I saw this.
If I haven't, say that again?
I completely had forgotten this was a thing until I looked up the wiki page, to be honest.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I haven't seen it. It sounds like it didn't do too well and or wasn't that big of a thing if I had not heard of it until now.
Yeah.
Apparently, it stars Laverne Cox as Dr. Frankenfurter. And gotta say, I can't say I am... Okay, so obviously Laverne Cox is a really great actress, and like I'm really happy that she got such a prominent role.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's something a little bit off about casting like a trans woman as a character who is like a man dressed as a woman, you know?
Yeah.
You know, like unless they like rewrote the part so that like unless they like reworded or like reimagined Dr. Frankenfurter as a trans woman. Like I'm sitting there like I feel like the Sweet Transvestite song just suddenly becomes way worse.
Yeah.
So I mean, if she took the part, I'm hoping that means that there wasn't anything too offensive in it. But yikes.
Well, hey, Tim Curry was back as the narrator / criminologist.
Oh, that's right. Yes, he was.
Yep.
So I don't know. I haven't seen the movie though, so I'm hoping that what I just described isn't the case, and that they rewrote the part so that so that weird unfortunate things like that didn't happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the only thing that I could think of when I saw that Laverne Cox was casted. I was just like, I hope that was handled well. I hope.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah.
So I guess wrap up, right?
Yeah.
What are any last our overall opinion? So I'll start with you.
Despite thinking about this movie too long, you get to see some really bad things. This is still a great movie. And regardless of what we thought too hard about, is still again a widely beloved film within the LGBTQ community.
Yep.
Of representation for them. So this is a great film. Should definitely see it, especially if you can go see a Shadowcast, which just like happen everywhere.
Yep.
So this is great stuff. Good film. Great time out of Shadowcast. Go see it, no matter what.
Yep. So I'm gonna echo the same things that Michael said. I think it's definitely a fun time. Not the kind of movie to take seriously in any respect. Yes. It's kind of just a fun camp time. Although I will say, obviously, there are some larger. I would say this film is also # problematic for reasons that we've explained.
Yeah.
So if you have, and I mean it's obvious, if you're looking for like some top-notch, very well-balanced LGBT representation, probably not the best movie to see. But if you don't mind that, or that isn't a concern for you, or you like it anyway, then I'd say it's up to viewer discretion on that part.
Yeah.
You know? That would be my only like caution against watching this movie. But yeah, I think it's still a fun time. If you don't want to watch the movie, the soundtrack is kicking, so at least give that a listen, I'd say.
Yes. Yes, absolutely agree. Definitely everything. This is just the fun. This is all good. This is. It's a good. Yes. But I hope you'll enjoy listening to this podcast. You should like, share, and subscribe this video, and subscribe to the channel. SoundJack426 obviously is where you can find me on YouTube, because hopefully you're listening this through YouTube and not pirated by someone else. But you can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at SoundJack426. Alyssa, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at TheRationalDove. My icon has recently been changed from a dove to a bat, but that's only or crowbat, I should say. That's only for the month of October. Yes. So.
Yep.
But yeah, that's where I am. Tweet at me, say hi, all that good stuff.
Yes. And that will be it from us. So this is. Wow, I can't think of my outro. So thanks for tuning in. This is SoundJack and Alyssa signing off.